When we talk about passive approaches to ethnography, we talk about situations where the ethnographic researcher engages in different forms of unobtrusive observations without interacting directly with any participants. Passive approaches include data collection procedures that Robert Kosinets describes as investigative and that are focused on observing participants from a certain distance. However, Kosinets urges us to be involved as researchers, emotionally and intellectually, also when we are observing from a certain distance. On the other hand, there are observational or non-participatory methods that can be employed as passive approaches. For example, selecting and archiving online traces of digital interactions, like conversations in a Facebook group. Selecting and archiving online traces of digital interactions can be done without any interaction, passively, and from a certain analytical distance. Other passive approaches include quantitative procedures made possible, or at least easier, by the digital settings, such as social network analysis. For consociality-based ethnography, where we depart from the notion of consociality, passive approaches such as selecting and archiving online traces of digital interactions can be enough to conduct an ethnographic study. Focusing on consociality, we focus on interactions characterized by fleeting connections in contextual fellowships rather than the stronger communal ties of digital communities. In these cases, passive approaches can enable unobtrusive studies of social settings. In fact, the lurking, or if you will, voyeuristic quality of ethnography can also be understood as a methodological strength, for example, when studying sensitive or stigmatic phenomena. Passive approaches that require no or very limited interactions with participants can provide accessibility to social settings otherwise not available for study. Passive approaches can also be employed rapidly and cost-effective. For example, if we use tools for automated data collection, such as scraping. Some researchers also argue that passive approaches can reduce the risk of bias, since the researcher is not as personally invested in the field of study and the participants as when engaging in more active approaches. If you rely exclusively on passive approaches, one trade-off might be that you develop ethnographic accounts where the insider's perspective is missing. You might also risk a certain lack of understanding of specific concepts or situations. To counter these issues, I suggest that active approaches, in particular taking field notes, should be considered also when using mainly passive approaches. By writing reflective field notes, you as a researcher have a way to actively engage with the social phenomenon you study, something that most of the times will make your study richer and more